This is the Knitting Thru podcast. I am here in north central Indiana where I live with my husband and my 4 kids, and it's just a beautiful day. Everything's covered in snow, and today is a bit of a warmer day, so a little bit of it is melting off the roofs and everything, but it's still below freezing, so it's only like melting off the asphalt and the roofs of people's houses, which actually is great because it makes things safer, but we still get to keep the snow. So that's lovely. I call it the Knitting Thru podcast because I knit through all the things. It's actually one of the ways that I cope with life. I do a little monthly catch up along with some other fun stuff on my channel here. So this is to go over what I was focusing on in January 2026. Because it's February 3rd, 2026 right now. I am moving my yarn stash from our guest room to my front porch again. I used to have it out here, but then my husband put in these can lights in the ceiling, and as he was doing that, of course, like insulation and dust was all falling down, and so I asked him to wait so I could move all my stuff. And not get all dusty and gross while he was improving my space. And but now that that's done, and where I had moved it into our guest room, he is now sorry, there's a cardinal that I hear outside, and it sounds like it's really close to me, but I don't see it. Can you see it right there? There he is. Oh, it's beautiful. Sorry, his chirping has been distracting me because I saw him over here earlier, and I think cardinals are just so beautiful in the snow, and I keep hearing him and I couldn't find him again. So anyway, we found him. January has been full of lots of things. If you are also in the United States, you know that. And sorry, I think I didn't set you where you were before. If you are also in the United States, you know that there's been a lot of things going on, and amidst all the bad things, there have been some really good things. There have been some really good people, and so I'm trying to focus on actions that I can do, and not spiral about things that I can't control, but also at the same time focus on watching for the helpers, like Mr. Rogers says, because I think it's important to do that so that we don't feel so alone when we're fighting for what we think is right. I don't know, did I scoot myself forward somehow? Anyway, so there was a lot of knitting in January. There's not been a ton of things to go and do because January in Indiana just includes a lot of snow. So that's nice on one hand because it's beautiful and it really does feel like a necessary season for my life. Also, I'm just going to clear the fact that I'm like looking so pink because I overheated my front porch because I knew I wanted to do a podcast today. So I turned it on earlier today and it's like really cozy and warm in here, but I am going to be pink for a second because it's really nice and cozy. Yeah, anyway, all of that to say, knitting through the feelings for sure this month. And next month, even though it's only a few days shorter, I always do feel like I don't get as much done for some reason. But I think it's not just that it's a few days shorter. I think it's also that at the end of February, it's not as frigid. Like even if it snows and even if, it's still winter, it's not below 0, especially in the second half of February. So there's more that we can do, and there's, Valentine's Day weekend that's coming up in February. I am hoping to surprise the husband with a couple things for that weekend, but we shall see. All dependent on childcare, but we shall see. We've spent many a Valentine's Day just at home watching a movie and talking and, giving each other tiny gifts and things like that. So it's totally fine. We've been married for over 11 years now, which is kind of funny. Like, it's a little bit weird to think about sometimes, but I really love it. And time is weird all the time, not just when you're talking about how long you've been in a relationship with people. So there's that. Talk about what I'm wearing today. I did have on a cardigan that I knit earlier today, but it, like I said, it's really warm in the front porch, so that's nice. But I knit this tank top. It is called what's it called? Oh, darn it. The Leela top by KnittingThru. And I did this as a buddy knit with my sister, and I'm really glad I did because I have cast on maybe 4 or 5 summer tops before and always pulled them out by the time I got through like the interesting bust part, and then I would just be on the body just knitting round and round and get really bored and then just be like, I'm never going to finish this, and pull it out and use the yarn for something else. So I'm really glad we did it together because we would show each other progress pictures and things like that, and that was really nice. I'm actually grateful for the sunlight, so this across my face, we're just gonna deal with it, and I'll try not to blind myself. I also have some knit socks on today. They're just stripy socks, patent scroy socks, and vanilla socks, and they're keeping my feet very warm. In fact, I'm gonna take off my boots because I went to go get my daughter's glasses from the van. She left them in the van, and now I'm kind of roasting in here. And I really like patent scroy sock yarn. It's just really sturdy. It's more of a sport weight yarn, so that's kind of fun too, that they're thicker and warm. So anyway, on to the things that I've worked on this month. I actually have 2 garments that are now usable in my wardrobe. Last year, I did not finish any garments. I think last year I finished 1 garment for my sister for her birthday. It was like this huge, bulky weight, like almost to the knee sweater. But that was the only garment that I finished. I have a couple of garments on my needles though that I've been slowly working through. And I have 2 that are wearable now, which is really great. The first one that is wearable is actually just something that I mended. This is a cardigan that I got when I was going through my grandmother-in-law's things with all the other granddaughters and granddaughters-in-law. Our aunt basically said, please come in, and if there's something that you like, then please take it home with you to Indiana because, I know that she would love for you to have anything that you liked of hers. So that was just really special. Number one, not all families treat daughters-in-law and granddaughters-in-law, with equal standing as the rest of the daughters and granddaughters. And in my husband's family, they really do, and it's very special, and I don't take that lightly. I know that it's a real privilege to be treated that way and to be cared for that way. And so I have had the honor of knowing my husband's grandma since we were dating, and that was just really special. She was a dear, dear lady, and so whenever I have been wearing this, I've been thinking of her, and that's really nice. There were a couple of parts though. I didn't start wearing it right away though, because there were a couple of parts that had been eaten or just, I don't know if moths got to it or it seems like maybe they did, because the little parts of it that were damaged, it seemed like that's what happened, especially on this cuff that I'll show you. So there was this little part here that I repaired, and I actually repaired it from the inside so that it wouldn't be as visible, because it wasn't super big, and so I thought that would be nice to do it from the inside. And then there was this other part on the side of the body. So then there's this little place on the side of the body that had some severed stitches as well. But the biggest part, and then there was this tiny place back here. It was literally one stitch that was coming apart, but I didn't want it to like run down, obviously. And this is some pretty toothy wool. I will say I was surprised at how warm I was when I wore it the first time. I was going around the house trying to get some things together to leave with the kids to go visit my sister in Ohio, and I got really warm with it on in the house. So it's very functional. The biggest part that needed a repair was here on the cuff. You can see like there's kind of a patch there, and that's way more visible than the rest of the stuff that I did. After I got all the repairs done, or at least after I thought I got them all done, I found this tiny, oh, here it is, this tiny hole here on this cuff. And so I was wearing it, like going around getting stuff, and I went to grab a thing and saw the tiny hole in the cuff and was just like, you've got to make it. Because I repaired everything, and then I blocked it just to even everything out and give it a fresh start. And I thought, I don't want to like do this tiny repair and then block it all again, but will it bother me if it's like all like, weird? And I had determined I would not block it again. I would just fix it. And then on the way home from my trip, which this served me really well, I just still wore it because it, like I said, it's a pretty toothy yarn. And so I wasn't afraid of that coming apart quickly or anything. And I brought two sweaters, this one and this like little cropped one, blue one that I have. And this was the warmer of the two, so I wore it quite a bit. I think this is from, it says it's from Pure New Wool, Moorland Knitting, made in England, a Kirkby Stephen cottage industry. So I believe that this was given to her as a gift from my husband's grandpa, because he is originally from England. He immigrated here, in his 20s. So you don't hear his accent coming out very often, but just every once in a while. It's very cute. I love sitting next to that old British man and him holding my hand and just talking to me. It's very sweet. So all done, came home, promptly spilled Sprite all over my left arm on the way out of the van. And I thought, you know what? Seems like we're gonna need to block this again. Or soak it again, at least. I didn't like pull it out, which I thought maybe next time I will, because it's such a ribbed fabric that it doesn't like drape or anything. It just kind of hugs my body, which I've been utilizing as like this, I thought I would be utilizing as like a layer underneath some things, under my coat or whatever, but it is so warm. I think I might, the next time that I feel like it needs to be soaked, I will like block it out so it dries out, probably. Just give myself a little bit of positive ease, because it is a full length sweater. And So I repaired the cuff and then I soaked it again to make sure the Sprite was out of it. And now it's just absolutely perfect. Now I have a sweater in my wardrobe that is so functional and so warm. The thing that is stopping me from wearing it sometimes though is it's like this full zip sweater, and I never zip it all the way up. It might be useful to do that if I was like out camping and it was super chilly or something, but I usually just almost do like a V-neck, just zip it up to here type of thing. But I have noticed like on my stomach and things like that, the zipper will like curl, because of course the knit fabric like will move and things, but the zipper doesn't do that. So I've thought about making a zippered sweater for myself before and wondered like if there's a way to combat that. But I think actually if I do, because of this, wearing this one, if I do make a zippered sweater for myself, it'll probably just be like a half or quarter zip sweater. I've seen the zippered Dagmar sweater, and that's really pretty because it just like comes from here up. So it's more like if you don't have it zipped up, it's more like a V-neck situation. And so that's really nice. So I'm so glad that I get to be able to use this now that it's repaired and freshened up, and makes me think of her. And so that's really nice. This is the Tulip sweater by, oh gosh, I always second guess myself saying her real name because I don't want to say the wrong name. But her Instagram handle is B Mandarins, and I'll put her real name up here on the screen. I absolutely love this sweater. It's a reknit for me. I knit it earlier this past fall, and even just putting it on my body is just like so cozy and warm. Even though I'm not cold, I just, the way it insulates things is really comforting to me. Unspun yarn, whether it's Nutiden or Let Lopi or any other unspun yarn, is just so warm and so cozy, and there really is just nothing like it to me. And so I really loved this brown. It's just this deep brown with like these little heathered, I mean, all Nutiden yarn is heathered somewhat. It's beautiful and tonal. And I used almost every bit of this yarn. I may not have even put the scrap away yet. I took a picture of how much I had. It was just this tiny bit, which was surprising to me because I finished the sweater. I wore it for a few weeks. I really loved a lot of things about it, but there were some things that I knew I could do better. And because Nutiden yarn is a little bit expensive, for me anyway, I didn't want to just kind of give it away. I've done that with a couple of things that I've tried, and like I've tried to fix them, and it hasn't worked out, and so then I did give them away to see if they would serve other people better. But this is I think the first working garment that I've made in Nutiden, and I absolutely love it. So I will also put the colorway name up on the screen because it's just this deep brown. Oh, that's a really good color representation there. Oh, it's so good. So the first time I made it, the things that I really liked about it were just the yarn itself and the color and the circumference of the sleeves that I had knit. But just about everything else I wanted to change. I wanted to add more short rows so that the neck would come down more. I wanted to lengthen the body, and I wanted to lengthen the sleeves. So I thought, since I had, with Nutiden, a lot of times I'll like roll them into these balls, right, to work with. Lots of people do that. And so I had like maybe one softball size ball left when I finished this, and then another bit, like that was maybe like it was so small, it was like maybe a quarter of that size. So I pulled it all out and I re-knit it with more short rows. I knit the body way smaller because twice now I've thought, oh my gosh, I really want a cropped sweater or cardigan and I'd really like it to be like really cute. And so I've done the positive ease recommended for my bust size, but I don't like that much positive ease. I actually want like 0 ease or a little bit of negative ease for it. So this has 3 to 4 inches of negative ease when I put it on, which means that when I put it against my body, it doesn't go like to this side of my body, right? So that means that it has to stretch to be on my body a little bit, which is great because one of the reasons I wanted to reknit it was because of the positive ease. The back of it, my back goes like this, right? So like this is my butt and this is my back. And so my sweater was like out here and it was cropped. And so there was just like drafts in my back. And I absolutely hate that. I don't know if it's being 39. I don't know if it's like living in frigid weather sometimes. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I lose heat out of my spine and I absolutely hate it. It's one of the things that I know is preventable, so it annoys me so much when it happens. So I knit the body a lot smaller and I knit the body longer than I did the first time. I didn't realize that I had mixed up the directions for the body. So actually this time, the first time I had mixed up the directions, I don't know why I was doing that, but I knit it about almost 2 inches shorter than the directions say to do. But this time I knit it according to the directions and the length is absolutely perfect, especially for my skirts. It's just a smidge too short for it to work with my high-waisted pants, but I have been thinking about casting on for another one that would work with pants better. So, because I just think this scalloped hemline on the bottom is really pretty. I really like that a lot. And so I knit the body, and then I anticipated the sleeves that I would get more out of the yardage that I had. But I really think you lose a lot of yardage when you're dealing with frogged unspun yarn. You lose quite a bit of yardage. And I think part of that is I have to cut off the bind offs. I did all Italian bind offs for the neckband and the sleeves. And I'm not unpicking those with this. I don't know that I even could successfully do that. So I did the Italian bind off on the neck just because I think it's really pretty, and of course I see that bind off the most. Well, maybe not. I probably see the sleeve bind off more, right? But when I'm looking in a mirror, I see that the most. And then I did a regular bind off on the sleeves, which isn't stretchy. It's not stretchy at all. But the sleeves have positive ease and the body has negative ease. So since there's a lot of positive ease in the sleeves, the lack of stretch doesn't matter. Like I can put my hand in it like this and it still fits. So it's not like it's hard for my hand to get through or anything like that, or my sleeve to be in there. And I've just really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed this modified version of the tulip sweater a lot more. Truly the only thing I modified was the short rows and like the sizing, right, for it. Everything else, like the pattern is really well written, and I think I want to make another one, which is not common for me. We'll see if that actually happens, if I cast it on or not, but it's just been so wonderful, especially on days where it is so cold. I really like it. And so going out into the cold, I am almost always wearing one of the skirts that I've made for myself. They're wool on the outside and flannel on the inside, and so it's just really cozy and lovely. And these are breathable enough that when I go inside and like I take off my coat and, my shawl and everything, I feel comfortable there as well. So it's just been an absolute hit. I love it. I do find that I wear it almost exclusively over collared shirts because this part of the neckline irritates this part of my skin. So a couple of times I've worn it with, like a long sleeved crew neck underneath it, but it just really irritates that part of my body throughout the day, especially if I do get a little bit warm in it. And so I'm almost exclusively wearing it with collared shirts like this one, or this flannel shirt that I got recently from the thrift store that is one of the softest flannels I've ever worn in my life. So even though I don't wear my flannel shirts buttoned all the way to the top, and this one doesn't even have buttons all the way to the top. This is like the most high button. Even so, the collar like pushes these in, and then because this fabric is like pushed out a little bit, right? It doesn't actually touch my skin. It looks like it is, but it doesn't. And I think that is my most preferred way to wear sweaters, is to have like a really cozy layer underneath them, because I don't mind touching them with my hands. I don't mind, even like the back of my neck. For some reason, that's fine. But up here, like on my chest and on my neck in the front, it's just really something that I have to like ignore, and I don't want to have to do that with the things that I've made. So layering them with something soft underneath has been really key, and especially because flannel, and like this might be a chambray or something. I think I might be using the wrong word. I don't remember. It's just a regular shirt. I don't know the fabric it's made of, but it's thick enough that like even if one of the guard hairs from the wool were like poking out or something, even though sometimes I kind of pick at those as I'm knitting, but for the Nutiden, sometimes there's a lot of them, and so I haven't done all of them. Anyway, because my shirt underneath is thick enough that I don't feel that it's just the coziest thing in the world, and I really am contemplating casting on another one. I'm not sure what color I would do it in, because I really love this brown. It's so pretty, and especially because my hair in the front is very white. The contrast is really nice. My hair in the back is all brown, but I never see that part of myself. So to me, the things that I'm trying to complement are my skin tone and the hair that I see in the front, right? So so this does a really good job of that, I think. I have another garment on the needles, and I don't have a lot of time. The husband just picked up the kids for jiu-jitsu practice, and I have to go off to an appointment in a second, but I am going to try. The other garment that I've been working on is the November jacket by Petite Knit. Now, I cast this sweater on Valentine's Day last year. I have been steadily working on it. I absolutely love this red. I want to wear it in the snow and feel like a cardinal, like a boy cardinal, right in the snow. So I have the sleeves all done. I've had those done for a while, which is nice because I can try it on and like it feels very like it's almost done, even though it's not. This is where I was last time, up here. Now this sweater has a bit more positive ease, and it's brioche, and that just takes me longer to do, right? Because it's a different stitch, and it's not like, sorry, it's a different stitch, and so I have to, you know, I can't completely zone out with this one, right? I think this is about 4 or 5 inches there, and that puts it right at my true waist. I would like for it to be quite long. I have this yarn all left, and there's another stack behind this stack that looks exactly the same. So I think I need to weigh it. I need to know how much I have, because there is a double knit, like, I wanted to say rib, but that's literally not what it is. Where ribbing would normally be on the bottom is a double knit band, which will match the sleeves here. And I think it looks so cute. And it is going to make it like that, I believe, unless, I think I need to look at the pictures again, but I'm assuming that since I can't remember if I was supposed to do like a significant decrease before I did the double knit cuffs. But that's what I need to figure out if I want to, if I did do a decrease before the double knit band, I don't think it'll be a problem at all. It'll just kind of like lay flat. But if I didn't do a decrease and it achieved this shape by just having a double knit border on the edge, I am thinking it's going to kind of balloon at the bottom the same way this does, right? And I'm not like pulling on this. I could, but like this is just the shape it is. And I have not blocked this. I don't think I've done a mid project block with this one. So I'm really curious about it hitting the water and like the weight of it, if that will be affecting anything. Even though Knitted in Yarn is much lighter than a lot of yarn, this is also Knitted in Yarn held double in the colorway Flama Karen. So I think I still have like 8 to 10 inches of the body to do, which is great, and I want it to be that long. But one of the things that I thought would be really sweet is if I was able to wear it on Valentine's Day this year. And we're already on February 3rd, so I would need to knit an inch a day, I think, from tomorrow on. And then I would have a couple days. I would have a day for the bottom, and then I would have a day for it to like dry, right? Which sometimes it takes longer than a day. So I have been focused on my 2025 whips. The tulip sweater was that, this is that. And so that's been good. But also I'm wondering if I am able to motor on this thing, if I can get that done or not. Yeah. It's the thing I'm going to be working on now. Now that we've chatted about it, and I've finished a couple other things in the last few days. At the end of January, I definitely wanted to finish my tulip sweater. That was a goal of mine. And I finished it, I would say, maybe the first couple weeks of January. Another goal was to finish one sock from the advent calendar from my 2024 Mouses Makes calendar. I also got a 2025 sock skein calendar from Mouses Makes, but I haven't decided what I want to do with those yet. I have some ideas. I have some ideas for some summer tops, but I don't know if that's going to work. So I'm still thinking. But in the meantime, I've been wanting to do my 2024 calendar because I knew as soon as I saw those sets, I wanted to make them into socks. So this is from week 1. It's a very long sock. It's a 70 round leg. I've got a 20 round 2x2 cuff. I really like the stretch that a long tail on the knit stitches and a German twisted on the purl stitches cast on gives me, so that it all kind of goes in at the top. I really like that. And then I just do this slip stitch heel flap, and then I carry it around this way, and then I also do it at the ball of my foot, and I call that the tread heavy sole. If you have questions about how to do that, if you're really familiar with socks, like, you'll just probably need some help getting through the heel turn. But I have tutorials on my channel for it, and I really like it because it has extended the life of my socks a lot. And I wear my socks all the time. This like red toe and cuff is just I love it. I love it. And the black and white, and I think it's maybe like so it's like different shades of gray and white, right, in here. And I was wondering how it would feel about like it potentially pooling. And it's funny because on camera it does look a little bit pooly, right? Especially like here by the gusset, but I don't care. I don't care. I enjoy it so much. And I did the biscuit recipe for the stitch pattern. It's a free pattern. It just puts little strategically placed purl bumps in there. And I don't know if you can see it very well because of the variation of the yarn. I like being able to see it up close, even though people might not be able to see it far away. And also, I feel like if you have a variegated yarn and you want to like try and break it up, I honestly think putting some purl stitches in there will help with that, because purl stitches take more yarn than knit stitches because of the way we make them. And so it kind of breaks it up a little bit. That's my thoughts on that, but yeah. So I got one done. I'm wanting to, these are just like, I put these on every 10 rows. So it's 70 rounds from where I pick up from the heel flap to the toe. And I start my slip stitch for the ball of my foot at 50 rounds, so that there's 10 slip stitches down at the bottom. So yeah, so it's a very symmetrical sock, 70 and 70, right? I'm very excited to work on the next one. I just have like this tiny cuff started on it, so tiny. And I use a US 1, 2.25 needle, and I always do mine cuff down, and it's kind of the standard sock that I can do without having to think about a lot of stuff. And I have kept that one in my bag. So I usually just keep it in my bag for when I'm waiting for things, or for like if I'm the passenger in a car or whatever. And then usually once I get to that heel flap, I'll take it out of my bag and work on it in the house for a little bit to just kind of like set it up. But I'll even do the heel flap out in the world. And then again, once I get through the heel turn, I'll bring it back in and pick up all the stitches and set it up for the gusset decreases, and then I'll bring it back out into the world again. So there's just only a couple places in the sock where I feel like I need to set it up for me to keep knitting on, to have it be my bag knit. But this one's going to be good for a while. I'm going to be getting through this whole leg before I need to switch anything up, which is lovely. I like bringing projects with me when I'm talking to other people who I know well, because they know I enjoy conversing, and I can hold eye contact with someone else while I'm knitting. So I don't feel like it takes away from anything, but it does give me something to do with my hands, which I really enjoy. So the goals for February are to finish this. Even if I don't get it done by Valentine's Day, I'm really hoping that I'll still hold the motivation to finish it in February, because that would still be fine too, to have cast it on in February and cast it off in February. That would be really nice. And then the only garment left on my needles will be my dad's sweater. And I really think it would be nice to just be able to focus on that, which is why I have not put any time into it, because I want to finish these first. Every sweater that I have finished, either after the season that I wanted to wear it in, or like months and months before the season I wanted to wear it in, has actually been really useful for me, and I really loved having it the next season. So I am trying to tell myself, like, even if you finish it on March 3rd, like, that's okay. You're still gonna love it. The arbitrary deadlines don't need to rule your life. Speaking of my dad's sweater, I got sorry, I'm trying to get this needle. I got a fixed 4.5 millimeter needle. I purchased it because I couldn't find the tips for my 4.5 millimeter tips. There's a US 7, I think. So I purchased these, and then today when they came in, I found the 4.5 millimeter tips, but that's okay, because if I, for some reason, am like getting antsy about like focusing on my dad's sweater, because it is going to take a while. It's going to take a while, and it's not a stockinette knit at all. It's heavily cabled. Then it's going to be good to have, like, if I want to cast on something that is more of a stockinette thing mostly, then that would be really helpful, which would probably be a longer tulip sweater, to be honest. That would fit into that category. And I have been trying to figure out what would be a good limit for myself on cast-ons. I know some people don't have any limits on cast-ons, and like, God bless you, that's wonderful. I love that. Having too many things on the needle stresses me out a little bit, so having some discretion at the front end is the way that I try to manage that. So I would like to have something like a little rule for myself around it. And I was wondering if, like, it would make sense that if with every 2025 or 2024, because I have a couple of those whips that I finish, then I can cast on something else. Even though I finished a 2025 whip, I am still thinking to myself, like, well, what if I did 2? Like, every 2 whips that I finish, I can cast on something else, because then it would be less works in progress that I'm having. And last year, one of the things that I did that worked really well was trying to have less works in progress and working on things a little more, not monogamously. I obviously have a lot of works in progress, but not just putting like a half hour here, a half hour here, a half hour here, because it feels discouraging to me because I can't see the progress very well. Hi, it's another day. My battery died. I had an appointment to go to, and I was already running late and didn't keep track of the time very well. So there's that. We've been through many things together. I almost got through the podcast yesterday. I almost got through the knitting portion of it yesterday, but I didn't, and that's okay. So this is the flannel shirt I was talking about, though. And you can see I'm re-wearing this because I just wear it to death. So, all right. One of the other repairs that I've made in January is I stole all my sister's knit socks. No, scratch that. I left one pair of my sister's knit socks at her house because it was the only one in her little box of knit socks that didn't have holes in it. And I was like, what? So I'm pretty sure she was still wearing them in her shoes with holes in them. And that's why I didn't know. Because every once in a while she would like show me, she would like peep the cuff at me and be like, I'm wearing the socks you knit me. And I'd be like, oh, you know. But there were 4 pairs of socks in the little box. And I've knit her 4 pairs of socks. I've been knitting for a while now. And I think it was the second year I was back into knitting that I made her a pair of socks for her birthday. And that just kind of continued. I've just been doing that ever since. So she's been wearing them, you know, obviously. And having one pair of wool socks in the winter, you're going to wear them a lot and maybe wear them out. So I have knit her more throughout the years, but I really don't know if, I don't know how well these are going to hold up after this, because we'll repair them. We'll just keep repairing them until it becomes too much, and then we will give them back to the earth. That's what I keep saying. Anyway, same thing I did on the sweater that I repaired. I also repaired the soles of her socks. Now, normally, do I have my, yeah. I'm going to take this sock off and show you that I'm wearing. Normally, I do like this whole tread heavy thing that I already showed you on this sock. I forgot. Normally I do that, and I've done that on many socks. In fact, I repurchased this yarn to make my favorite pair of socks again, because I had done the same thing and blown out the ball of the foot and the heel on my sock. And at the time I did not know how to repair them, so I just kind of frogged them and have them in a pile of scraps to put in like a basket I crochet or something. And so I always, and that came about from the first pair of socks that I knit her and the first pair of socks that I knit myself. They both blew out in the same places. So that's how the whole tread heavy thing for how I do socks was born, right? Note to self, even on DK socks, which is what these are, I should be doing the tread heavy stuff. I have already even made a tread heavy pattern to follow, and it is free on Ravelry. So is the fingering weight version. I can't remember if both versions are an Eye of Partridge heel. But either way, if you are into socks, the video tutorial on my channel is probably the better way to go, unless you're like, no, I have to read it. I have to do it that way. Most of the repairs I was able to do on the socks, there were like these threads left on it, and so I just duplicate stitched over those, and those were great, to the point where I am contemplating like duplicate stitching nylon thread across parts of the sole when I give her socks, so that when they wear out I can just go over that. Thinking about it. I'm glad she's hard on her socks. Honestly, it means she wears them and she likes them. So there was a hole here, and there were a couple of, if it was just kind of threadbare, I just went over it with duplicate stitch. But you actually, if I turn these up inside out, you can see they are so fluffy. She has worn them so much. So this is just duplicate stitch. You can see the stitches actually still exist there, but this one had a hole here. So both of the socks were like that. Her tread pattern on either of her feet is pretty identical, which is nice, because it's really easy to identify what's going on there. And so this was almost exactly the same. I actually found that duplicate stitch was really just satisfying. I really liked it. So this one's done, right? This one's repaired. We're going to send those back to her. And then these are the same situation. They're just fingering weight socks. But I did do the tread heavy thing on this one, but let me show you. These heels are still intact. Nice. No heel holes. But these is the stuff here going on here. A lot of it happening is just under the part where I start the slip stitches on the ball of the foot. So here too, on this side, right? And these were just kind of thin, so I duplicate stitched over those anyway, but this is where the hole was. So I'm going to take a picture of these before I send them back to her so that I can have a better idea of like if I should just do slip stitches across the whole bottom of her foot, or if it's just like, is it just this, to here? Maybe I need to do, instead of doing the last 20 rounds of the foot, do the last 40 or something. I'm going to take a picture of it. That way I remember for this year when I make her socks. I also brought my Charlotte Stone Knits books with me when I went to her house. This is one of her patterns. This is called the Magical Toadstool socks. So that Sarah could look at them, and I said, tell me which ones are your favorites. Tell me what you like, and I'll knit you some for your birthday. And she was like, this feels really entitled for me to be looking through this book and be like, knit me these socks. And I was like, honestly, the fact that you feel that way is really great. Thank you. But I would like to know which ones you like. So she did show me the ones that she was interested in. Now, there's a pair of socks. Now, the DK yarn, even though those socks look the worst for wear, right? Whoops, I grabbed the wrong thing. They were, it was okay. They had nylon in them, but I didn't do the tread heavy pattern on them, so I'm not surprised that they blew out on the bottom like that. The fingering weight socks do have the tread heavy pattern on them and nylon in the socks, but that sock yarn is was really soft. And so I am learning that we need nylon and like probably toothier yarns, because the one pair of socks that was in the box that had no holes in them, and now I want to go look back at them and see if any of the stitches are thin, because I didn't even think to check that until I was repairing these. But that pair of socks that I made for her look great. Granted, they are, I don't know if they're the newest pair of socks. The DK pair might be the newest pair of socks, but the newest fingering weight pair of socks that I've given her are the radish socks that are still in the box at her house. And the yarn that I used to do the rest of the foot on that was like rope. Like, it was so tightly spun. It wasn't like rope. It was tightly spun yarn. It was obviously really good sock yarn. So this is the first pair of socks that I made for her, and it is not any type of nylon. It has no type of nylon content. It's just a very soft fingering weight superwash yarn. So I've repaired these once before, because this was the first pair that blew out, and I repaired them once before. But I think I even anyway, when she said there was a hole in them, I repaired them, and then I sent them back to her. But then I think she didn't tell me, because she doesn't, that sometimes my family does that. They know I can fix things. They know I'm able to do stuff, but they don't ask me, because they're like, well, she shouldn't feel like she has to do that. And like, I get it. I get that. But also that means I have to like sneak around and steal people's socks out of their boxes. I have to. Since those socks were so fragile, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to make them into mitts, and I'll probably use some information from Tin Can Knits, the world's simplest mittens, I think, because honestly, I've never made fingering weight mitts or mittens before. I don't think I have. And I need to look up how large this thumb hole should be. I placed my needles here just to where like this latitudinal line where I want them to be, but I am not sure how many stitches I should be picking up to do that. So if you're familiar with an afterthought heel, that's exactly what's happening here. I'm just putting, there's like your middle row, right? And picking up stitches on this row and the row above, and then clipping a stitch and unpicking that until it's the width that you want it to be. And then you'll just take that and knit a circle until you do your ribbing and bind off. And then you just weave in, I guess, 3 ends down there by the hand and then one up there at the little cuff. And then I have these little balls of yarn that I got from frogging the foot. And if I get to any part that looks thinner than it should be, I'm just going to cut that out. If I put my hand in here, it's a pretty good size mitt already where the bottom of that thumb hole is going to be. So I'm just going to knit some really long ribbing so that if she wants to unfold it, she can, or if she wants to fold that, she can too. So I've seen a pattern that does this in, these are actually really cute. I've seen a pattern that does this with a thicker weight yarn, and I think it's DK or worsted, and they look really cute. I think they look really cute. So inspired by that, I'm just going to turn those into that. I don't know if I will ever knit the mitts that I am inspired by, but I think they are very nice. I think that is all the things. I did contemplate doing the podcast over again since my battery died and it's been kind of like patchy this time. But I think I'm just going to let it lie. I think I'm just going to do it the way it is and move on. Focus on the things that I want to finish in February, and know that the reason you guys come and watch these videos is not because of my producing skills. Bye. Yes?
We're begging you for us to have a together switch turn.
Oh, the kneeling. Wow. All right, this is what I'd like you to say. Dearest Queen of our hearts.
Dearest Queen of our hearts.
May we please have a together switch turn.
May we please have a together switch turn.
And to honor your gift, we will fight for you at jiu-jitsu practice tonight. Yes, my knights, you may have a together switch turn.
Yes! I'm in 3D world. I'm Luigi.
Okay.